fans? Westbrook, 4-Star Sports Media. You are sitting down at the Sports Buffet, the one-stop shop where it's always a plate full of sports. Got John started over there in the house as well. Tonight, we're going to be talking college football hot topics, as well as going to be talking some men's college World Series. Obviously, that's you know, I'd say a pretty hot topic right now. When you say, John.
People traveling all over the country just go to Omaha. People driving 10 hours plus just to watch some baseball is the best time of the year if you're a college baseball fan.
Yeah, and they're probably using SeatGeek to get their tickets, and I mean, it's a smart idea because SeatGeek is a platform, is the nation's leading platform for ticket buying and selling, and you can do it for live events like concerts, sporting games like Men's College World Series, and more. It offers a marketplace for tickets, allowing users to find a variety of options, including potential deals and discounts. It also provides features like interactive seat maps, price tracking tools, and more to keep the buyer informed while purchasing tickets. We appreciate SeatGeek for all they do here at 4-Star Sports, and it is going to lead the show off with the SeatGeek question of the show, which is surrounded around college football. Who will have a better season, Ohio State or Alabama? We'll answer that question at the end of the show. But let's start at the top, John, as we got some hot topics around college football. And the first one is this: Is Arch Manning ready for the big lights of Texas? And I start with you.
Well, he don't have to worry about no big lights on the first game of the season as that 11 a.m. kickoff between Texas and Ohio State. So the only lights that he might have to worry about if the game is overcast, right? So I think he's ready, but is he going to be mentally ready? The reason I'm saying mentally ready is because the first game of the season going to an environment like Ohio State is going to be a culture shock to him, especially when the first game in general is at Ohio State at 11 a.m. But how many, like, if for example, I know how fans are. We've seen it. Let's just say the non-conference schedule. First of all, is San Jose State, Ohio State, UTEP, and Sam Houston. So they're getting those games out of the way early on, right? So October 4th is their first game in the SEC, and it's at Florida. And then they got Oklahoma, at Kentucky, home or at Mississippi State, home for Vandy, at Georgia, which is right after bye week or so. Then you get Arkansas at home, and then Texas A&M to end the season. So if you're a Texas fan, do you just play it out this year, or do you want to see maybe another backup quarterback in play as well? Because that's one reason I think Texas should have got somebody in the portal that has D1 experience to help him out regarding certain stuff like this. Because think about it, man, the SEC schedule for Texas is kind of brutal.
It's brutal.
So when
Yeah,
you
it's
talk
brutal.
about Arch Manning, how many games do you actually give him? Do you just play it out, or because I know how Texas fans are, man. You've seen it.
Oh, they're
They
yeah. I
want
mean,
the wins. They
I
don't want
think
the wins.
I think. I mean, they won 13 games last year. I mean, oof. Um, he only had two starts last year, John.
Right.
939 yards, 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 108 yards rushing, 4.3 yards per rush last year. You talk about the backup, Trey Owens, 6'5", 225. He's a redshirt freshman. And then you've got Matthew Caldwell, 6 starts. He came from Troy.
So really
So
not
when you look
experience.
at, yeah, there's not a lot of experience there, but there's a lot of hype behind Arch. I mean, there's already Heisman hype behind this young man, and he's only started 2 football games. Um, it's just very, very interesting to me. I think it's a question that is one that's going to be asked numerous times around the country. And when you look at the offense, I mean, big time, man. The offensive line loses four starters. That's tough. That's not going to be easy to fight back from. But like I said, Arch Manning, do we think he's up for the bright lights of Texas? We will soon find out. All right, man.
Well, how
Hot
many
topic
games?
number two
The reason I'm asking, like, how many
is
games do you give
what?
Arch then, though? That's what I was asking you. Like, how many games do you give Arch, or do you just play it out this season?
Oh, I think he's all year long.
Okay.
Yeah, all year.
I just think
I
you're
don't
going
I
to
don't
some
I
tough
don't think.
environments for him on year one as a starting quarterback, and it's going to be a different challenge for him.
Yeah, I mean, that's very true, and it's a very, very tough road environments. But I mean, it's just a tough. I mean, you got Texas. You got. I mean, it's really tough, man. Really tough. Up next, where do you see? We saw a return of one Mister Rich Rodriguez out to Morgantown, West Virginia. West Virginia went 6-7 last year, lost to Memphis in the Frisco Bowl last year, 42-37, in a game that really, if you look at the final score, it was not that close. There's excitement there, and rightfully so. You go back and look at Rich Rodriguez. You look at his time all the way back to Tulane. You go back and look at that Sean King offense that Tulane ran in, what, 97, 98, 99. If you could implement that offense somehow in today's college football, I don't know that it can be stopped. They returned four offensive starters, six defensive starters. They start the year off with Robert Morris at Ohio, and then you've got the backyard brawl. But you host Pitt. Then it gets right into conference play as you take on Kansas, Utah, and BYU before a bye. John, I think this team is going to win. I think they go back to a bowl. I think they win 6 games. And I think this is a team that you can't sleep on in the Big 12 moving forward. Meaning, next couple of years, don't sleep on West Virginia competing for a shot at the conference championship.
Yeah, I can agree to a point of view because the way that West Virginia lost a lot of players in the transfer portal after that Frisco Bowl, because I know everybody stayed intact for that bowl game, which was good to see for West Virginia. But you brought up their schedule a little bit. Their conference games that are on the road are a little bit challenging for them, especially with the game at UCF. I know it's a sneaky game because Scott Frost is back at UCF, but I still think that's one of those games West Virginia has to go in there and win if they want to have a successful season. I'm kind of like you, haven't really gotten the schedule a little bit more in depth. I could see 6 or 7 wins under Rich Rod in year one, but in years to come, I would not want to see West Virginia. It's also makes you wonder how many players that make an impact on this year's football team could make an impact going down the road as well and stay with West Virginia all 4 years or how many years they got left under Rich Rod.
Yeah, I agree. I think when you look at Rich Rodriguez, um, you know, I think he brings excitement. He should bring excitement anyway. Um, when you look at what he's done in his past, you look at not only what he's done, how he's done it. To your point, I mean, of course, we're going to get into each conference and all that coming up before as the season gets closer. But Central Florida, that's a tough road game. You're coming off a bye, which is good, but it's tough, man. It's very, 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 very tough. By the way, while he was at Rich Rodriguez, while he was at West Virginia, he was there for 8 years. By the way, he was 8-7,
Mm.
coming off a bye. So something to think about. Something to think about. All right, man. Up next. Well, actually, you've got some questions, John. What's your questions?
Yeah, I'm trying to put you on a little bit of a hot seat question. We talked about this in the last couple of years, regarding certain coaches that are going to be on the hot seat. UAB. Well, let me start off with this one. Came to mind. I had a little bit more research on it before, so I'm putting you on the spot right now. Like UAB's athletic department came in the off the season and said, "We got Trent Dilfer's back." Do they rethink that throughout the year, and do they say, "Okay, are we going to be happy with a 6-6 Trent Dilfer or 7-5 Trent Dilfer, and then we just keep him?" Or do you think they move on with a disappointing 6-6 or 7-5 season and move on from Trent Dilfer?
Man. Um, Trent Dilfer's 0-12 on the road, by the way, as a head coach.
Right.
2-1 coming off a bye. I don't know. He's 7-17. I don't. I understood the hire. A lot of people didn't. I
Mm-hmm.
got it. Like from an excitement standpoint, from a marketing standpoint, I understood it. But then he goes on podcast, and then I'm like, okay, what?
Or even his pressers.
I don't know how he survives. I mean, Jalen Kitna is his quarterback. We'll leave that guy's personal life out of it. Um, he's gonna have to win some ball games. The problem is, I don't see a whole lot on his schedule that he wins, and that includes game one. He could very well start 0-1. And if he loses to Alabama State, I think they fire him on the field. Brett Bielema in Fayetteville style.
Wow. True.
They won 3 games last year. I don't know where they're 0-12-1 against the spread the last 3 years, coming off a straight up win.
Mm.
Since 2018, they're 14-4-1 as a home favorite in conference. They're probably not going to be. They were 1-0 last year as a home favorite in conference game. If that tells you anything, for all the people that say how weak the American Athletic Conference is, UAB was 1-0 last year as a home favorite. I don't know how he survives.
Yeah, the reason the attendance has not been the same. People have been talking about it all over social media last year down in Birmingham. The average attendance was like at one time 15,000 people in attendance in their new stadium. So that's not a very good look if you're a UAB alum or a fan in general of UAB. Uh, yeah, my next one is we saw Luke Fickle sign a contract extension a couple years ago till 2031 with Wisconsin. Uh, how many years do you actually see Luke Fickle stick around on that 2031 contract?
Fickle's a tough one because coming off the year, really coming off his tenure in Cincinnati, he was going to get a big job. Somebody was going to come get him. Was I expecting it to be Wisconsin? No. Um, I don't know, man. I mean, when you've got teams like Indiana and Kurt Signetti coming in and they're finishing 11-2, I mean, Steady Eddie, Matt Campbell over there is still 7-6. Nebraska, Matt
Mm-hmm.
Rule, we talked about him last year. Another really good job. I don't know, man. There's a lot of coaches in that conference that are questionable. Their seats have to be a little warm. Fickle's one of them. Another guy we're going to talk about in the ACC is the guy over at Cal,
Hmm.
Wilcox, Justin Wilcox. But
Yeah,
when
that's
you look at this team, I mean, I just you start out with Miami of Ohio. You hope that's a win. MTSU is not a cakewalk. Then, oh, by the way, you got to go down to Tuscaloosa to finish up that series. You sign with them.
11 a.m.
You're
kickoff too.
welcome, Luke. Yeah, exactly. You're welcome, Luke Fickle. Uh, and you come back home and you take on Maryland, and then you have a bye. The problem is coming off a bye. Luke Fickle's 1-3 at Wisconsin. Oh, by the way, Wisconsin's opponent, Michigan, also has a bye before, and then you take on Michigan at the Big House.
Tough, man.
Since
Tough.
2019, the Badgers are 5-4 straight up, 4-5 against the spread, coming off a bye. You hear straight up, you hear spread. You're gonna hear that a little bit more often this upcoming football season from us. We're gonna utilize Phil Still's magazine as much as possible. There's a lot of those type statistics in there, as well as we've gone in and gotten the against the spread for every team in the country, uh, FBS, FCS, and NFL for the past few years. So we'll be using all this information coming up. You're going to see a lot more over under. You may see little segments, but you'll see a lot more over under. But to your point, John, Luke Fickle, 10th overall year in his head as a head coach. It's tough, man. You got both of your buys. The team that you play is coming off a bye as well. Michigan and Washington both come off buys, but then you end the season at Oregon. You got to buy the aforementioned Washington. Then you go to Indiana, not easy game. Illinois at home, not a cakewalk. Brett Bielema's got the Fighting Illini playing their asses off. Oh, then by the way, you got to go row the boat on the road at Minnesota for a trophy game to close the season. It's tough, man. I don't know that they win 5 games this year, and I don't know that he's the second one that you've named. I don't know that he survives. I just don't.
Yeah, I
And that's
just
tough, man,
yeah.
because he was way up here at Cincinnati, and happens.
It kind of reminds me of Tom Herman when he took that Texas job after leaving Houston. That's what kind of reminds me of, to be honest.
Yeah, but I mean, when you look at like, I was actually thinking about this the other day, and I was actually listening to a radio show. Was it Full Ride? I think on XM maybe. I was talking about this the other day. You look at Tom Herman and what he was at Texas, right? Now you look at Steve Sarkisian and you look at the. I'm not saying that they weren't behind the program. I'm saying with NIL, with all that stuff, I think Sark has a much better breeding ground for success than Tom Herman did. And you don't flip off the freaking camera. I mean, come on, let's just be honest about it. If you don't want the people in there watching your freaking thing, then don't let the camera in there. It's pretty easy. Um,
Man, you brought up the Big
he's
Ten.
another one, man.
Yeah,
I mean, Tom Herman, prime example. What's he doing? You know,
commentary.
I mean,
See, another coach for the work out for the Big Ten that might not work out to me is going to be Deshaun Foster from UCLA. I know his seat got a
yeah,
little bit warmer throughout the year last year, and it got cooled off a little bit. Another coach you got to look out for, of course, the rumors going on regarding Lincoln Riley. They don't produce this year 9 or 10 wins. Of course, there's talk that people might want
yeah,
him
man. I
gone.
don't know. I don't know. I'm not sold on the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
historically speaking, there's been no defense from USC at all ever. Plus, you're taking them and you're putting them into a conference that is extremely tough when it comes to football. There's a reason the Big Ten's one of the P2. Plus, they play non-conference games.
Mm-hmm.
But you return 9 starters on offense, 7 on defense. Lincoln Riley's 26-14 at USC, 15-5 at home, 8-7 on the road, 4-9 versus top 25. He is 5-2 coming off a bye. But I'm not sold on the quarterback. Yes, Eli Sanders is really good. You look at their conference. I mean, good God, could you start out with 2 tougher teams? Missouri State and Georgia Southern. No offense to either one of those programs. I'm glad Missouri State's in Conference USA. I'm excited about talking about them.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a team you can't sleep on, but not against USC. Unless they just open up offensively and then USC just can't stop it, which is not really out of the realm. We're talking about a Lincoln Riley led team. But then you got at Purdue. Who knows what that team is?
Tough place to play at.
Uh, Also, just tough coach in general.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you got Michigan State, and who knows? At Illinois, not easy. You got a bye week, great. Then you go Michigan at Notre Dame, bye at Nebraska, Northwestern, Iowa, Oregon, UCLA. Good Lord. I don't know, man. I don't. I mean, just in June, today's June 15th. As of June 15th, I mean, barring any wild, I mean, that's the other thing is I do want to put out there like the if I give a expectation or it's June for all, I mean, people get hurt, you know, things happen.
People in the portal.
As of June, exactly. As of June 15th, I don't know that this team's got 6, 7 wins on the schedule. I see, I see 4 or 5. You know, I mean, it's kind of like playing spades. I mean, I know I got 4 or 5 that Mike can land. I don't know. I don't know that Lincoln Riley survives. Who you got next?
Before you talk about your next topic, my last one is Tony Elliott. Then Mario Cristobal, does he survive at Miami after Carson Beck going over there? I think Tony Elliott doesn't, but I think Mario does. Just because you bring in a quarterback in Carson Beck that can give you some wins to help you out.
Yeah, Tony Elliott's going to be a tough one, man. Um, I mean, I don't think they're as bad as Stanford, and I'm sorry, there's nothing against Stanford. I don't think they're as bad as Wake Forest. There's nothing against Wake Forest, but I think they're right there with the Boston Colleges of the ACC, the um, teams like I mean, 5-7 last year. It's his 4th year there. 11-23 overall. 4-0 coming off a bye. That's a positive. But you start out with Coastal Carolina. Not easy game to start out with. Then you start off, bam, you crank up conference play, and you got to go to NC State, a team that is helter skelter. Who knows? You got Miami, you got Stanford. Potentially, you're looking at through what 3-1, maybe worst case scenario 2-2 in your first 4 games, and that's Coastal, NC State, William and Mary, and Stanford.
Mm-hmm.
Then starting September 26th, who knows? By that point in time, excuse me, we may have a very good answer on the question of can Mike Norvell and Gus Malzahn coexist in Tallahassee. Interesting game there, though. The Cavs, that's Virginia, by the way. They trailed that series 14-4, but they've won 3 of the last 6, and since '03, the under is 8-0. Under head coach Tony Elliott, They're 12-7 against the spread in conference games played at home. So that's a who knows. I don't know, man. I mean, 1, 2, 3. I mean, you really start
Five.
conference play, technically speaking, with 3 wins. Um, I mean, maybe 4 if you could knock off NC State. That would be. I would not just off in June once again. Like I wouldn't expect that. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at 5 wins. And I mean, that you make a shock. You pull one out against somebody, you end up in a bowl.
There's another key game on that schedule, man. Washington State. I know they got a new head football coach, but that's going to be another key
Yep.
game, non-conference.
Well, that's why I mentioned he's 4-0 coming off a bye,
Right.
because that's also homecoming. That's a big one. And your other one was Mario Cristobal. I think Mario's going to be fine. I think quarterback play is going to be good. Um, Not Cam Ward good, folks, but it's going to be good. Um, Based on everything I believe, I think Mario Cristobal's fine. I don't think he's going anywhere.
Yep, that's all the coaches I got right now.
All right, man. So 2 more, and then we'll take a quick little break, and then we'll come back and talk college baseball as we'll give some live game updates, things of that nature. So there's a Belichick in Chapel Hill.
There might be two.
Yeah, I mean, I think his son's there too, right? So,
There's a girlfriend.
well, that one too.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't want to ask the question who survives longer, him at NC State or her as his girlfriend. But the question I do want to ask is, do you see this? We'll call it a project for North Carolina working out. Because honestly, I believe if you're North Carolina in today's college football, what they did is really smart. I mean, look at who they brought in. I mean, you got Michael Lombardi over at as the GM. I mean, he knows how to he was running NFL teams. I don't know, man. It's gonna be very interesting. What's your thoughts on Belichick? And yeah, question is, how do you think that project works out?
All right. So the non-conference schedule, first of all, is TCU, Charlotte, Richmond. Those are his non-conference games in general. So, like, I'm like you. I hope it kind of works out because this day and age in college football, you kind of do need a little bit of NFL mindset to lead your program and then hire a GM like he did. But let's be real. He's 70 something years old. Um, this day in college football age, how many more years do you actually have under your belt in general? Because well, I'm not trying to bash your age by no means, but this is this day and age. How many more years do you think you can be coaching? I think I think this year might be kind of like an interesting year because they lost so much talent to the NFL. Like their running back play, Hampton went off to the NFL. So year
Yeah,
one under
that's
Bill Belichick is very well could be interesting. I think right now on top of my head, I can see them going 6-6 again per se. But
yeah,
how is it going to go to year two, year three, year four if he stays this long in Chapel Hill?
yeah, man. You talk about the running back. You know, he steps out. You got Davion Grouse, sophomore. He's the leading returning rusher. He had 67 attempts last year for 343 yards, um, and 4 touchdowns. So you look at this program, and you look at the quarterback, for example. He brings in Gio Lopez from South Alabama. Well, we know South Alabama has a talented offense. We've seen it. We've watched it. How will he adapt into Bill Belichick's system? Yep. My other question is this: how in depth is Bill Belichick going to make this system? Is he going to keep it simple? Is it going to be Brady style? I mean, what is the expectation here? And I've reached out to a few guys that cover North Carolina specifically to get them on to have this conversation. But you talked about it, John. You start out September 1st, Monday night. It's a Monday night game against TCU. Then you go on the road to Charlotte. I understand Charlotte was not good last year, folks. I get that. I don't think you can sleep on that football game. Yes, it's June, but I don't think you can sleep on that football game. Then you got Richmond. Then you go at UCF. Tough, tough. Then you got a bye week, but so does Clemson, and then you play Clemson. And then you got another bye week, but so does Cal. But then you got to travel cross country and take on Cal on a Friday night. You play a Monday night game. You play two Friday night games. You host Stanford as your homecoming, though. I feel like that's smart. Um, Tough, man. I don't know that I see. I mean, yeah, 5, 6 wins in June, right? 5 or 6 wins. But I think the project's going to be very interesting. Obviously, it's going to create what? What are we doing? We're talking about it, right? It's going to create buzz. It's going to create engagement. It's going to create eyes on your program. And I guarantee you, the North Carolina SID has never been this busy as he is right now with requests to try to get in and cover that team.
Mm-hmm.
Rightfully so. Rightfully so. You're talking to a legend and working on that too for us. So you look at North Carolina, you look at Bill Belichick, legendary name. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, man. Last one on the hot topics is this, John. What is a team that you think may shock the college football playoff world in 2025?
The University of Florida. Billy Napier. We asked him last year, do you feel like your season get a little bit hotter? Then it was just a remarkable 360 turnaround that program had last year under Billy Napier. And then I also think another year with Lagway at your quarterback position could very well surprise some people as well. But another team to look out for is going to be Nebraska, in my opinion. Matt Rule, we talked about him a couple of years ago. We talked
Yep.
about him this year and last year. So Florida and Nebraska, I think very well could surprise some people this year.
We got a team that, if you follow the money, they're a team that has one of the best NIL programs in the country. The problem is their campus is in the middle of nowhere in Texas. And I'm talking about Lubbock, Texas. And that's Joey McGuire and the Texas Tech Red Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
Don't sleep on this football team, folks. Don't do it. They return 10 starters on offense. They return 11 starters on defense. They got Arkansas Pine Bluff to start the year, Kent State, NCAA Independent Oregon State. That sounds weird saying. And then they go to Utah. Don't sleep on this team. I'm telling you right now, Texas Tech's a team to watch. Texas Tech is a team to watch. All right, man. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to discuss the College World Series, as it's been quite an interesting weekend for a few teams. But we'll get into it right here coming up on the Sports Buffet, the one-stop shop for all things sports. back, folks, to Sports Buffet, where we always leave you with a plate full of sports. You see the promo code right there on top of your screen. If you're looking for tickets for the Men's College World Series, we've got you covered. Head over to SeatGeek right now, type in promo code 4-Star Sports Media. When you do, find you any ticket, $50 or more. It will save you, I promise you, it will save you $20 off your first ticket purchase. But Omaha is here. Who will prevail is the question at the bottom of the screen for those of you watching. By the way, for those of you watching, we really appreciate it. Shoot some comments over in the comment section if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching on Twitter, quote, retweet, reshare. We appreciate all the support. Um, we just have fun doing this, man. It's a lot of fun, and this show has turned out to be honestly much more fun than I ever expected it to be. But big time stuff, John. Men's College World Series. We had quite the events over the weekend. And let's start there. So, oh boy. All right. All right. So Friday, what what Coastal Carolina wins 7-4 Friday. Coastal Carolina has now won 24 consecutive games. They're playing right now. We're going to get to it in just a minute. But 7-4 win for Coastal Carolina. Big time ball game, John. The Chanticleers coming into tonight now 54-11, 24 games in their first trip since Omaha since 2016, and that year they also beat Arizona to win the championship. But big time stuff, man. They now obviously they're taking on Oregon State tonight, but Arizona falls, and let's go ahead and talk about the game that took place after that. That was Oregon State Louisville. John, big time game between the second all time meeting between these teams. Last time they met was 2013 College World Series, and it was a Beavers win 11-4. What was your thoughts on Oregon State and Louisville?
Well, to your point on that Coastal game, 13 hits in that first game over Arizona's pitching. We talked about Arizona's pitching was going to be so dominant in the in the postseason play, and all the way up to the World Series, it was pretty dominant. But for 13 hits for Coastal in that first game, so I think that stood out to me how Oregon State was. They won the game 4-3, like you mentioned, but they won the game on 3 errors. So whenever you see a team still win the game with 3 errors, that's quite impressive for offense and the defense. And of course, Louisville just rallying back, scored two in that ninth inning, made it interesting for a little bit anyway. Wes, I think you're on mute.
All right, so you have sorry about that. You had the Friday Sunday matchup, then you've got Saturday Monday, right? So we're going to talk Friday first. Now we'll talk Sunday elimination to keep the same side of the bracket. Louisville taking on Arizona. Louisville eliminates Arizona today, 8-3. If you're watching and you're looking at our YouTube clip, little thumbnail, you'll see something from the NCAA baseball page today where they put "Thank you Arkansas baseball" with a picture of Arizona. So I don't know if they're. I don't know. We'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, we just.
Come on, do
Uh,
better,
I
guys.
mean,
Do better.
I mean, what? I mean, come on. You're the NCAA baseball page. Like, what are we doing? Anyway, Zion Rose will hit a two-run single. Will give Louisville its first lead during a six-run eighth inning as the Cardinals would knock out Arizona with a 8-3 win today. Louisville's 19th come from behind win of the season bumps the Cardinals up to 41-23 is they have another elimination game coming up on Tuesday against the loser of tonight's Coastal and Oregon State game. Cardinals trailed 3-1 early after coming up empty, having runners in scoring position in the third, fourth, and fifth innings. Big time stuff, man. big time, big time
Hey,
stuff. Like I said, second
Ethan was different in the game.
season. Oh yeah, second meeting of the season. Louisville won 13-1 in Arlington in a game shortened to 8 innings by a run rule earlier in the year. All right, now let's jump over to Saturday games. Now you had two games. First game was at, like I said, 1 p.m., 6 p.m. for those of us here at Central Time. But John, UCLA would knock off Murray State. Murray State, what a hell of a story they have been. But UCLA wins 6-4 to move on to the winners bracket, moving Murray State down to the losers bracket. And poor Murray State, because they got to play the loser of LSU Arkansas, which is going to be a mad baseball team, no matter how you slice that pie. And John, it came out to LSU, and it came down to pitching. That's all there is to it. Came down to starting
Mhm.
pitching. Um, LSU pitcher absolutely just carved Arkansas up. That's all there is to it. Zach Root struggled. Dave Van Horn talked about it. He said it was a tough decision to pull him, but he said he stands by it. He believes it was the right decision. I agree, especially in a game like that. Because now, guess what? If you need him again, he's there. But Hogs will be starting Gage Wood tomorrow, 1 p.m. pitch against Murray State, with UCLA and LSU taking on each other at 6 p.m. So, John, what's your thoughts so far on this? What I find to be a very exciting men's college World Series.
I feel like Saturday was just better than Friday. The reason I'm saying that is because the crowd was a little bit more intense for both Murray and UCLA and Arkansas and LSU. Arkansas LSU, you know the history behind it. It's a rivalry game. Throw out the records. They hate each other because it's a rivalry. But the way that Murray was down 6-0 and just rallied and scored 2 runs and the 2 runs each time in later innings, they just showed a lot of fight. And I'm thinking they're going to show a little bit more fight tomorrow in that elimination game too. But to your point, I texted Blake this, like, oh, I'm kind of surprised they're pulling their starter, but I kind of get it. But why they're pulling them because he did have 3 runs score off of them. Then, like you said, they can save them for an elimination game, which they probably. He only threw 38 pitches on top of that. But the thing that stood out to me was that both teams, Arkansas and LSU, LSU struck out 16 times yesterday. That's got to be like a record, in general. And then Arkansas struck out 10 times at the plate as well. But man, I do not want to see LSU. It got to beat them twice. It's gonna be a challenge if you got to play LSU twice and beat them. Especially, the thing that concerns me if you're a Murray State fan too, but do you have more depth now coming into this game as well against Arkansas? But overall, I think the College World Series is going to be living up to the hype, and so far right now, it is living up to the hype, in my opinion, because the crowds are making. I know we got a lot of bandwagon fans out there too, cheering for like a Murray State, whatnot too. But the atmosphere, second to none, looks like at Charles Schwab Stadium, and then we saw this yesterday also, man. Like people lined up to get tickets for the Arkansas LSU game. What hours before, or even 7 or 8 hours before the line even opens, just to get some
Oh yeah,
tickets on there. So that's what
100%.
I quit. That's what I was about to ask you this when we were brought up. CE. I wonder how many tickets are actually come available to the public on a day of the game like that, because I know the stadium holds like 18,000 people. It seems a little bit larger, but I wonder how many tickets people are allowed to get. Is what I want to know.
That's a good question that I don't have an answer to.
Yeah,
Um, it's a very interesting question. When you look at the LSU Arkansas game specifically, obviously Arkansas has a very tough road. Do you see them making noise, or could Murray State take out Arkansas?
I think tomorrow could be very well like a maybe a high scoring game a little bit too. Just the way that Murray State can make up the bats at any time. We've seen it in the Oxford region. We saw them in the Durham region where the bats can wake up at any time if you're a Murray State fan. Yeah, the game kind of concerns you if you're an Arkansas fan. But let's just say you do get past Murray. Can you beat a UCLA or an LSU team twice? That is the main thing you got to see going forward.
Well, you got to beat them. You got to beat one of those teams. You got to beat Murray first off,
Right.
but then you're going to have to beat LSU or UCLA. Then you're going to have to turn around and beat whoever twice. But then there's another side of the bracket that's happening too. That is what I do like, and there was a lot of complaints about, oh well, we should have. Why was LSU playing Arkansas in round one? Why weren't they on opposite ends of the bracket? Blah blah blah. At the end of the day, they made a hell of a bracket, folks.
Well,
Look
this
at it.
that's how the bracket is made these days, though, people. Sorry, but that's how brackets are made. If you get past a regional and then a super round, regional round, that's how the brackets are matched up.
Well, and to your point earlier about the crowds, you mean to tell me that LSU Arkansas didn't bring in eyes? That was the premier game of the season. That was what some people considered the national championship. And to be honest with you, LSU played like it was. And that's
These-
not a shot at Arkansas.
I feel like
It's not.
LSU wanted it more yesterday too.
Oh, I think it goes beyond wanting it more. I think they just played better. They just played better baseball. And but the thing is, that's baseball. The next time LSU plays, they may score one run and leave runners on base and struggle pitching. Their starter may have issues. We don't know. That's what's so great about the sport is that you can literally go game to game to game to game and it be different. That's what makes baseball so beautiful. When you look at this World College World Series, I think LSU's a team. Obviously, you have to watch UCLA. Obviously, all the teams in the winners bracket. But when you look at this entire tournament, from the start to now, Arkansas getting beat by LSU is not a shock. Louisville, where did Louisville come from? Nashville. They came out of the Vanderbilt Regional, number one overall seed. Texas went down. There was plenty of surprises. Murray State being there, first time ever. Coastal being back, first time since 2016. Speaking of Coastal, John, we got a score update there.
Last time I saw it,
I'm about to spotlight you and let you talk about the game. Go ahead.
no, last time I saw it was 4-1, bottom of the fifth, Coastal. So it looks like their hot seat or not hot seat, but their hot streak might be still coming alive for the Coastal Carolina up 4-1, or now it's 5-1, bottom of the fourth. I do apologize. 5-1, bottom of the fourth. Man, their bats. That's another team that could. It's gonna be tough to beat them twice.
It's going to be tough to beat any of these teams twice. But then again, let's be honest. It's going to be tough to beat Arkansas twice. It's going to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, Arkansas is not just going to lay down. They're not just going to be like, oh, well, shoot, you guys, you guys beat us. Oh, well, don't worry about us. We'll just pack up and go back to Fayetteville. No, they've been there 12 times, 8 times under Dave. They know what's going on. They know what's going on. But John, as we close the show, man, let's go back to the Athletic Brewing Company question of the show. So we're gonna have a poll of the day. We're gonna have a question of the day, and then we'll have a question of the show. Just for those of you keeping up with what we got going on here. Question of the show is: who will have a better season, Ohio State or Alabama? And I asked that question because I think it's going to be very hard for Ohio State to not only reload, not only on the field, but in their coaching staff. You lose Chip Kelly, he goes to the Raiders. The Raiders. Um, you lose a lot on the field, a lot. Can they reload and repeat? And then you look at Bama, first year under Kellen DeBoer. A lot of people questioned it. I think second year under Kellen DeBoer is going to be much improved than year one was, and you can go back and look at year one under Kellen DeBoer. So, John, what's your thoughts there?
On top of my head, without looking schedules more in depth, I think Ohio State's got the better chance to be a better team this year. I know it's year two under the board, like you mentioned, but I still question his recruiting, and I still question a lot of positions under Alabama in general because of that. Uh, and I also still question how the quarterback play might look in Tuscaloosa as well. Now you're thinking about putting Ty Simpson, as your starting quarterback down in Tuscaloosa without really no game experience. I know he's had
Yeah,
a
that's the one
few
that
games.
that's
Yeah,
the guy that we broke the news last year. He was going to start for the South Florida game, and everybody asked us where we got the information, and then he started for the South Florida game, and then yeah, that guy, right? Ty Simpson, yeah. Um, no, I to your point, I mean, it's going to be very interesting on both fronts for both the Buckeyes and the Crimson Tide. The other thing is this: they start out with Florida State.
hmm
The Florida State athletic director recently talked about wanting to schedule Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, Texas. Anybody noticing a trend here? Okay, we'll wait. Um, I'm telling you, that's a sneaky game for Alabama to start the season because you can catch Florida State really. You can catch Alabama a little bit down looking at last year's team, but you could also catch a really, really hyped up, a really, really motivated Florida State team entering 2025 based off the season they had last year. I think Florida State's going to be much improved. I get it, folks. They only won 2 games. I get it. They can win 2 more, and it's much improved. They can do it Dion style and win 2 games a year, and everybody's, they're improved. I get it. And we're going to talk about Dion coming up, too. But, no, man, fun stuff. We appreciate, I appreciate you coming on, John.
no problem. I think the
Um,
Florida State Alabama, like you said, could be a very well sneaky game because it very well could be
yep.
ugly at times because both teams have so many question marks going into the season at certain positions.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. If you're looking for something ice cold to sip on for the weekend, you got games going on. You got college right now. You're watching college World Series. I sipped on one last night over at George's here in Fayetteville while my wife and I were at a wedding. Athletic Brewing Company. That is, they are the nation's leading non-alcoholic brewing beverage supplier in the country. They're based out of Stratford, Connecticut. They also have a place out in San Diego, California. That means, folks, they are coast to coast. That means they can serve you all the way through the coast. And trust me, they do. Head over to Walmart now. You can get their Athletic Brewing Company beverages there. Last night we had Mexican food, so I had a Athletica Mexican Copper. It was with a lime. It was so good. Um, so good. But head over there now. And John, as you know, man, Sport Box Company. If are you listening? Do you have little kids that play anywhere from youth ball to right at high school? Plays football, baseball, basketball, hockey, lacrosse, volleyball. If you do, head over to sportboxcode.com/4star sports. Check out the boxes. It's a monthly box subscription box that has training aids, gear, swag, and more. And it's a monthly deal. So it keeps your kid looking good throughout the season and throughout numerous seasons because you can buy for all the different sports your kids play throughout the year because most kids nowadays are playing 3 and 4 sports a year, which is just wild to me. But we appreciate everyone watching, listening. We'll get this audio posted up real soon. Also, head there now. We got a special over on the Memphis football program as we start countdown. We are continuing countdown to kickoff over on the Tigers Den. But we'll be back Thursday, Friday as we talk more Memphis Tigers on the Tigers Den, and we'll also talk more sports right here on the Sports Buffet, where we always give you a plate full of sports. But for myself, John Starr, and all of us here at 4 Star Sports Media, we appreciate everyone watching, listening. As always, folks, get up, be kind, and stay classy.